Howell was said to be the first to explore the mysterious Grand Canyon back in 1896 with 10 men, and it was said to be a dangerous journey because only 7 of them survived. Fast forward to March 12, 1909, the Arizona Gazette published an article with Kincaid's finding and his incredible voyage, mainly hinting towards the discoveries and how the exploration would continue at a later date. Less than a month later, the Gazette published another article on exactly how incredible the findings were, and they said, quote, "It is one of the oldest discoveries in the United States and the entirety of the world," end quote. And to me, this is because this is what the Hopi said that the first beings on the planet originated from. Now, Kincaid warned of the dangers of the land and exploring these areas of the Grand Canyon. He pretty much said it wouldn't be recommended unless you were an expert survivalist. Now, we'll talk about the El Tovar Crystal Canyon, in which a Spanish explorer by the name of Pedro Tovar called the Grand Canyon in the 16th century, when he led a troop of conquistadors on a large-scale expedition through the southwest region of North America. And this was to locate a legendary 7 cities of Cibola and conquer them like the heartless savage that he was. Now, in the Aztec stories, Cibola is spoken of 7 ancient hidden cities, which are utopias, with enormous wealth operating under the universal law of oneness, where a beautiful city with gold temples actually exists. Luckily, Pedro Tovar failed to find any of the 7 cities. He was the first European to be enlightened on the Grand Canyon from the native people, and in the later years of 1905, a luxury resort was opened on the Grand Canyon named after Pedro Tovar. It was actually built 20 feet away from the south edge of the Grand Canyon. Now, the statue of an underworld god was also discovered in the Grand Canyon, and his facial features were said to be Oriental. What we know from these findings are that these ancient beings didn't feed into racism, and they left traces of their coexistence behind. The statue is said to be Tibetan. It's ironic, in recent pictures of the Antarctica exploration, it shows statues in which Tibetan males are depicted, and they're both in mysterious places where pyramids have been found as well. We know that the Egyptians also had tales of the underworld, whose ruler was Osiris, and the Atlantean priest King Thoth talked about inner earth and places called the halls of Amenti and Arulu. He also talked about the sacred flame, which is the heart of earth, being deep in the halls of Amenti, and how the flame changed directions once the Draco reptilians infiltrated the Atlanteans and the Lumerians and started opening stargates, which threatened to destroy Earth by knocking it into the vast darkness. So Atlantis had to sink so the portal could close. Now, the Hopi Indians describe the creation myth as their ancestors once living in inner earth beneath the Grand Canyon, and it is said that the sun spirit Toa formed 4 worlds on earth. Each world was imperfect in many ways, and it was miserable for the people, so Toa set to fix things. The first world was for the insect-like beings who lived deep underground. These would be the insectoids, and they hated it. So Toa sent a demigod called Spider Grandma to make their wishes come true. So she led the insectoids to Toa's second world, another underground realm. During this journey, the first world was destroyed by Toa with a great fire. Now, the insectoids who moved to the second world, they went through a metamorphosis process, and they were eventually transformed into bear and wolf-like creatures. This still wasn't enough for the newly transformed beings, so Toa started working on a third world. So the second world he destroyed with an ice age. By the time the beings reached the third world, they were transformed into humans, and they were pleased, and their ancestors and Spider Grandma remained in the subterranean world. Now, the newly humans eventually found dark arts and the knowledge of war, so evil began to arise, and the third world was split into warring factions. So Spider Grandma appeared to the humans who operated under the law of oneness and convinced them to leave the third world and to never return. Toa created a fourth world for them, and this world was on Earth's surface, but the surface was closed off to the inner Earth beings. So Spider Grandma released powerful magic known as earthbending, where she erected a giant bamboo stalk to grow from the ground and penetrate Earth's crust, which is why bamboo grows native in America. It's just not called bamboo in America. Now, the inner earth beings began to scale the giant bamboo stalk until they emerged on the surface of the Grand Canyon, where a new civilization was established. Now, it is said that the evil Hopi ancestors are still locked in the inner earth, and the third world was destroyed by Toa, which was caused by a great flood. Now, this aligns with flood stories around the entirety of the world. It's almost as if a pantheon of gods came up with a unified decision on flooding Earth.
So y'all mean to tell me Africa is 1,052 miles?
So this is not the first time I've seen a video dealing with this. I need somebody to explain. This does not make sense to me. I looked at the map. I don't know what I'm missing. It does not make sense to me at all. I'm literally sitting and I'm like, this is crazy. So I see more and more of these come up on here, and it's driving me crazy, talking about, the path to Africa through the Grand Canyon is a road down the middle of Grand Canyon that leads you straight to Africa. And there's things found in the Grand Canyon that deal with African culture. Explain. I'm serious. Explain. I would love to know how this is possible.
The Grand Canyon is a portal.
Really up here on top of that bit. Shit, the Grand Canyon, bro. That shit.
There's a whole civilization living under here.
There was a theory circulated not too long ago that said that there was a path in the Grand Canyon that will take you all the way to Africa. But now people are starting to add to this theory and take it even further. The added theory claims that the Americas, which is North and South America, is connected to or is ancient Egypt. But this was covered up to throw people off of biblical prophecy and historical events. While this theory sounds wild, I find it very interesting that in 1909, an article released called Explorations in the Grand Canyon that talks about finding Egyptian artifacts within it. There was also certain substances and materials from North and South America found in ancient Egyptian tombs next to mummies. The theory goes on to say that the Mississippi River is actually the ancient Egyptian Nile River, and that they put all of this in plain sight by building modern day pyramids in places like Memphis and Vegas, and also by putting pyramids on the back of the dollar bill. Now this theory could definitely be a stretch, but leave a like if you want me to talk a little more about this, and let me know what you think in the comments.
We must talk about this ASAP. There's been a massive amount of conspiracy talk about the Grand Canyon being the actual path to Africa. And what's crazy is, I just took a trip to Las Vegas. Y'all see, I haven't even been on the app. When we flew over the Grand Canyon, I had the same exact thought. Then I got on TikTok and I seen this.
These might be the
First you had Pangea. Now if you zoom in on the map, you see the United States, right? And then you see Africa right next to it. North America, Africa. This goes right along with me and my brother's conspiracy theory that all the Area 51s across the globe were connected in Pangea, and when we separated, those portals allow everything to connect between us and the earth and dimensional travel. Like the Grand Canyon, pyramids in Egypt, Stonehenge, I mean all these places with these unique locations and meanings. It's looking like the Grand Canyon just may be part of that. Conspiracy starts to get really interesting. So the Grand Canyon has 6 no-fly zones. And also you have parts of the canyon which you can't explore without executive supervision. I think this may be because they're hiding ancient history. 1909, G.E. Kincaid went on a grand exploration through the Colorado River, where he came across and discovered caves such as the one behind me. They're not natural caves, they were hard carved caves. Kincaid said that this cave alone contained mummies, hieroglyphic writings all throughout the caves, war weapons, and copper instruments that were sharp as steel. Craziest thing about it is that he said these caves could hold up to 50,000 people. So you can only imagine how advanced this cave actually was, especially for the time period he discovered it in 1909. But hey, it just might be a coincidence or just a conspiracy or something. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the Grand Canyon.
What's your race? Native. What? Native. Native? Okay, cool. All right. What? Like, are we sure, or is it like, are you native like he's native? You know?
I have a card.
You have a card?
Yes.
I would love to see. Well, hold on. Let me see your native card, all right? Because he's got his GMC card or whatever the fuck it is. No, man, please, let me see it. Come here. I want to see your card. Hold on. You have a native card? Yeah. Get yours ready, too, fucking steroid. Holy fuck. They give you like a card when you have one? Yes. Why didn't I get mine in the mail? Holy shit. Seminole Nation. What do you do with it? Like, where do you use it at? Like casinos, do you get 20% off of that? This is sick as fuck. I've never seen this. That's cool. So I'm gonna... Dude, I'm not... Y'all wanna go play roulette? Let's go. Nah, here you go. You're Seminole Nation and shit? That's cool, man. You're like real Seminole. That's awesome. What percentage of you is a Seminole? How much is it?
About 25.
About 25? And they give you a card at 25? Fuck, dude. Yeah, are the rest of y'all native too? Let me guess, sir. You're native as well? What do you pull out? An Applebee's gift card? You're like, right here? 2 for 20. So hold on. What's the percentage when you get a card from being a native?
You only have to be a little bit.
You only have to be a little bit? But I think I think I'm a little bit though. Did you like call in, or was it like a thing?
You have to be over a quarter.
You have to be over a quarter? Hold on. Ma'am, the white person speaking, shut your fucking mouth. So, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
I want to show you this image just called the Cacique Cangapol of Huechin and his wife. It was the Amaru Khans. Alright. And this is from, it says it's a portrait of Native American man and woman, includes the source creator of this is Samuel Ho, Will Coakley. Source title, History of the Viceroyalty of Buenos Aires. That's in Argentina. This is American Indians from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Come on, look at that. Did you know that's what the Argentinians look like, the original? Take a look. Does this look familiar, like any of your family members? And this is from 1807, all right? 1807. Again, the Cacique Cangapol of Huechin and his wife. All right, so now we're in this book by Bernardino de Sahagún, or the Fray, or the Father. He was here during the conquest in Mexico, very famous primary source.
No. So I completely understand. You're looking at this dude and you're probably thinking, oh yeah, he has the Olmec features. Well, when you do deeper research into it, you find out that when the Spanish moved in, not only did they rape the people, but they depopulated the people, and they also took on the identity of those people. You know, these dread-headed, brown-skinned people who were documented to be here on multiple occasions. Now, if they said that this was the original South American Indians, and this is how the ancient people of America displayed themselves, cornrows, head wraps, and afro-ish hair, you should really try to read a book before you start clout chasing.
White people are rotten, and black people are just like them, because you've made them just exactly like you. They walk like you, they talk like you, everything they do is like you. They want to be you so much. They love your woman more than you do. They know your mind better than you. They wear your clothes. They've even learned to wear your shoes. You take them out of the jungle, and you want to make them into a man. Why couldn't they be left to be God? Why do you want to make them into a man? In the jungle, they were God. Africans are smart, aren't they? Over here, everybody thinks them old black people are just dumb old colored folks. But they're not dumb old colored folks. They're very smart. They're very aware. And their capacity for fear is 3 times what yours is.
If y'all haven't heard Charles Manson, he said that. He said, why didn't you leave him in the jungle? He said in the jungle they were God. He knew. You want to turn him into a man. Charles Manson straight up said, I hate black people more than white people because black people act like white people. That's shit. What kind of white man you dealing with for real? Bruh. They said lock him up. Bruh. Pretend to be us. Why would you lessen yourself? He was more prideful about black people than we are at times. That white man knew the truth. They said lock him up for sure. Lock him up right now.
see all these copper pennies? You see them? After a while, copper gets really dark.
Herman Jessen, the Amazon trader, makes his way up the Moroni River, aided by friendly natives.
So now I want to show you this video I saw on YouTube from the indigenous South American Bushman Indians, it says, from Guyana. This is rare 1950s footage. You can see, you will see copper-colored tribes there.
And now, here's the man you saw in the film earlier, Mr. Herman Jessen. We're proud to have you with us, Mr. Jessen.
Thank you, John.
I'd like to ask, first of all, sir, how remote are these Indians from civilization?
These Indians live about 250 miles up the Moroni River. It's very hard to get up there because the rains endanger any trip, and the river is either too low or too high. It's just in July that one can penetrate into those villages.
Oh, is this your first trip into this area?
No, into this area it's my second trip, but I've made 25 trips into South America so far, and I expect to leave very shortly on another one.
Well, we're all anxious to see what being an Amazon trader really means, so let's start now.
Alright, so he basically starts talking, describing what he's doing in this footage. This is, I guess, some natives, some local Native Americans that joined him on this expedition to the interior of the Amazon. He says, he tells the person that's interviewing him that he travels for about 2 months and a total of 500 miles in. 500 miles in. And you can see all the footage he's getting. This is a native boy. There it says, one of the Bushman's son. This is one of the chiefs. He said he's being introduced. This is one of the chiefs that actually wore traded clothes with the white guy, and they you know, he dressed like the chief as well. These are you know, more natives in these towns he's encountering along the river, as you can see. You know, very much so you would think you were looking at you know, footage from Africa, but this is in French Guiana, in Guyana, right, in South America. And you know, if we look at the tobacco, the old tobacco images of the Indians, right, with their feathers, you know, copper-colored bodies, you know, it's the same as we see here, you know. So again, he traveled, you know, through all this river, 500 miles in, and you know, he encountered, I guess, a lot. It was like an adventure for him, right? Indiana Jones. But as you can see the footage, these are so-called Negroes, right? And you know, they gonna always tell us that these are Africans that mixed when they were escaped and maroons and stuff. But we've seen in video 1, video 2, we've seen the scientific anthropology to show that the oldest bones found here were of Negro descent. They had Negro features and resemble a lot of the Australian Aborigines and South Pacific Asians or Malays, right? And you can see them doing their dance here. They do the foot. Almost a lot of Native American tribes in the north, you know, dance with their feet as well. They stomp their feet. And the guy, when he's explaining this part, he's saying that it sounds like merengue, cha-cha-cha, like a merengue cha-cha-cha, with their dancing, with their singing and drumming. According to him, you know, this is his account from the interview. I took the audio off because it had background music. I didn't want to get a copyright strike or the video taken down. But you can find that YouTube down in the links, video original, so you can hear what he's saying. He's gonna mention a lot of Africanized, and they sound so African and so African because that's all he knows, right, from his history. But as you can see, they're encountering different colored tribes along these rivers. So you can see this one has this tribe has longer hair. They let the hair grow, but they're copper-colored, almost the same as the other natives that are with him. Basically, almost the same skin. And this is more of them in their river. More villages they're encountering, all copper-colored people. You know, as you can see here. And chopping wood. He's saying how strong they are, how well fit they are, how they're like very natural people. They're very healthy. They, you know, he says they don't steal. They're very good people. They treated him like royalty when he was in their towns. They're over here fishing in this river. He says you got to be careful because there's piranhas. As you can see, they're fishing with their harpoons and everything. And so this is, I guess, when they're almost back after the journey. He says they're unloading all the stuff they got and traded with. I guess he's going to bring it back to Europe, where he's from. So as you can see, copper-colored tribes in South America. You know, we gotta dodge the hijacks. You know, aboriginals, the true aboriginals were copper-colored in America. All right. So I'm gonna end.
Le soir, le wapi dormi, ou cap tondé, zombie santé, ou pas qu'on côté sorti, l'irait avec ou toute la nuit, ou pas qu'on a sous temps de Libyen.
Entire cities are being found in the Guatemalan jungle as we speak. This is the area right here, what you call the Yucatan and the border of Guatemala, the Petén region, they call it. All this unexplored area, and under all this jungle, see where they got the highlighted parts as the only parts where they've done the LiDAR scanning. They still haven't explored the other parts, as this is what they're finding. You see what's under here, you see all these structures, alright? Guatemala, roads, highways, connecting all these cities. Under this vast jungle, you see pyramids, monuments. Look how they play with their technology, they're so happy. Alright, you see what they're finding under these jungles. 60,000 structures, approximately. Alright, millions and millions of people were in this region of the world.
I want to show you some things that I don't think you even knew existed. It goes against everything Manifest Destiny teaches about Native Americans. And I want you to know this part of our history because people erased it, and we'll get to that later on in the program. Erased it intentionally. Right. Erased it intentionally. That's an important part of it. America's history didn't begin with Christopher Columbus came over. There were ancient cities with advanced architectures all across North America. Did you know that? Hundreds of years before Columbus came. You always think, oh, the Indians, they didn't scar the land. So, no, not true. These were cities as large as any in the world at the time. London or Rome, they were metropolises. Archaeologists say they have found evidence of 200,000 actual cities of mound-like structures all across North America that were here long before Columbus. But we don't know anything about it. Why? Why?
For more than 50 years, evidence of humans in America much older than 13,400 years ago was simply dismissed, and anybody who attempted to go that way would not get research funding and would be ostracized by their colleagues and literally have their lives ruined. And this is most unfortunate, and it's not how science should proceed, because we now know that human beings have been in the Americas for tens of thousands of years before 13,400 years ago. In fact, the latest evidence puts them back more than 130,000 years in the Americas. And what that says to me is, if they were saying before that humans didn't come until 13,400 years ago and nobody should look, nobody should dig deeper, now we know they were there 130,000 years ago. That's more than 100,000 years of the American story that has not been told entirely because of the dogmatism of archaeology. And now reluctantly they're having to accept, all of the institutions are accepting, well, we're sorry, we got it wrong. But it's not just a matter of getting it wrong. It's a grave responsibility to be the profession that interprets the prehistory of humanity to the modern world. And it's a betrayal of that responsibility to be so dogmatic and to refuse to consider any possibility which doesn't fit with one's preconceived notions. And, you know, the net result is that we're left with 100,000 years of North American prehistory, which has been completely unstudied, and they're only now beginning to study it. And the evidence that's coming out, both in North America and